Welcome, everybody, to another podcast. You have your host, Bill Condon and Matt McGregor, and we have another teammate guest here today, Bob Santucci. Bob, thanks for being here. And today we want to talk about the life of a broker and really what brokers do every day. What I found, guys, is that brokers are highly competitive people.
For sure.
Highly competitive.
In all ways.
In everything. And the top brokers are even more competitive.
Yes.
Right? And or in every aspect of their life. And Matt, you're a two-time broker of the year and do great things in all aspects of your life. Talk to me about the day in the life of Matt McGregor, work and outside of work.
For sure. That's a big, long, complicated thought. But I would say, I really try to break my days up into three categories from a business strategy kind of coaching session I learned a few years ago. So I try to break them up and organize my week on Fridays for the next week. And it kind of ties into long-term goals and things. So I populate my schedule with what's important. The workouts, which are huge, feed the mind and energy. And so I get those on the schedule. And then I do focus days, which is really business development, buffer days, which prepare me for business development focus days, and then free days. And just, on free days, I really, truly try. That's why when you guys email me and on free days, you don't get a response. That's a free day, right? You're not getting a response.
It's good to know why we don't really doesn't respond.
I always wondered why Matt just goes radio silent on me. But
that's right. And as you know, I like to get up early because I'm all about efficiencies, right? And so literally I think about it and I'm like, okay, if I work out in the morning, and I know, Bill, you work out in the morning. Bob, I think you do too.
I work out in the morning, yes.
I work out in the evenings because I'm like, I got my most energy in the mornings, and I want to beat the traffic because literally it's driveway to my work. If I leave at like 5:30 in the morning, it's like 17 minutes. Okay, if I work out and I leave at like 6:45, it's like an hour and 10 minutes, right? And then you got to include the line at Starbucks, right? Yeah. There's no line at Starbucks at 5:30, right? And so you start calculating all this, right? All of a sudden you're picking up an extra hour and a half because you're not dealing with this stuff. And then I get in there, nobody's there in the morning, and I feel like that first hour or so, I get more done than the rest of the day. Mm-hmm. And so those are some of the mental things I go through.
Yeah, no, that's great. Bob, for you, I know you work out like I do in the morning, and that's a big part of a big part of your life. But what's a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, so I also am about efficiency. My house is a little closer in than Matt's. I'm a little quicker to the office, even leaving a bit later. I actually built a gym in my backyard, so I do, and I am about efficiency.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I got a little shed gym.
Your dad helped you build that. You didn't.
Yeah, I had some help.
I'm visualizing that show, American Gladiator. No. What's the other one where they're like jumping? Like
Ninja Warrior.
I'm visualizing that.
It's sort of like that.
That's awesome.
But it's kind of calisthenics gym. So it's pull-up bar, that whole deal.
Okay.
But so I get up early, work out, and then head into the office. And it is really important for me to get those workouts in. It helps me. I mean, there's a lot of studies around, physical workouts and mental clarity and things like that. So for me, it is really important to get that workout in. It gets me kind of recharged and ready to go and attack the day. So I usually roll into the office, 7:30 every day. And so, from there, like Matt, I kind of like to set my day. I actually will often do it kind of the evening before. I have a larger one kind of the Sunday before like Matt does, but then the evening before I'll kind of set what I want to accomplish that next day. And for me, at this point in my career, it's still really, really heavy business development. So I'll usually have a list of prospects that I want to target that day. Oftentimes, given all the listings we're on, there's tours and things that I have to work around. So I'll have my day pretty well lined out with, if I have a tour, say at 11, I'll try and set a meeting down in the valley before that tour, so I can be efficient that way. But it's, the days there's a lot of variance, just because we get pulled in so many different directions, right? But I really enjoy that. The variance in every day, and having kind of those anchor activities like blocking time schedules for cold calling, that type of thing is really, really important.
Yeah, and like you guys, I'm a planner as well. And for me, my only alone time the whole day is bright and early when I get up and go work out. Right?
Yeah, you have like 16 kids.
Exactly. So no, but that mentally, Bob, you made the point. Like when I get up early and go run, that helps me plan the day, visualize success, go through all that mental part of it, of the day as well. And then you're ready to roll. And so my big thing is just be all in with whatever you're doing. So when you're running or whatever you're doing, working out, be all in with that. When you're at work, be all in with work. And then, of course, I do a lot of coaching and spend a lot of time with my family as well. And so, Matt, you mentioned, kind of segmenting different things. And I just, like you, try and be the best family person I can be, the best
you are,
broker I can do. And so I think that stuff's important, and separating those things helps me.
For sure. And tell us about your morning. What time do you there's all these different rumors. What time do you actually get up?
Yeah, I get up around 4:15, 4:20-ish. And, I do, knock out a few emails and then head out for either I'm going to the gym. I go to the gym one day a week. I run 6 days a week. And
you run 6 days a week. So really, and what is the range of those runs?
Typically my long run's 20 miles, and depending on, usually I have a marathon on the books. And so I'm doing a 20 every week and a half, every 2 weeks. And then most of the other runs are around 10 to, 15-ish miles. And I just got into it, and that's helpful. Yeah.
And you're out there running at like 4 a.m. So you've been attacked by an owl, I know. Anything else? Any coyotes? Any?
At that time of the morning, you can see some interesting things.
I'm sure.
And so, the owl thing was probably the best story, getting attacked by the owl. It swooped down on me twice. And, I think the second time I actually yelled out, "I'm under attack." And realized I was by myself and no one was, heard me. But yeah, you see some things, some pretty interesting. I saw a guy getting arrested the other day for breaking into a car.
Wow.
Bill, did the owl survive the attack?
The owl survived.
Okay, that was my question.
I'm scarred for life on that now. But yeah, no, that's what time I get up, and that helps me. And kind of getting back to the work philosophy, right?
Yep.
Matt, you and Bob, Bob's been in the business for about 5 or 6 years and continues to elevate every single year. Matt, you've done the same thing over your 15-year career and are at the top. How do you guys, and Matt, let's start with you, how do you constantly elevate and elevate your business to go next level? Because you guys are both do a great job of never being satisfied with where you're at. So talk a little bit about the mindset on that.
That's a great question. And I know we all have different philosophies, but I think we share the same direction on it. To your note earlier, Bill, we're competitive. Right. So it doesn't matter, what we did a couple of years ago or last year, right? You're competitive right now. So you and I did, our whole team did really well last year. And, but we have the mindset of January 1st started, we're tied for last place, right?
That's right.
And so we got to go. And I start every day with a little positive reading every single day, right? Quite often I'll read a quick scripture, and then I'll read some industry quotes, something to better my knowledge of the industry. And then I'll read some motivational quotes or watch a quick YouTube video. And as you guys know, I shot you out one this morning that kind of answers your question, which the quote was, sailboats don't move by yesterday's wind, right? So what we did yesterday does not matter. It's what we're doing today and tomorrow that's going to push us forward. So I am a big proponent of, education, higher education, learning more and more tools of our trade that separate us from our competition, and being around positive people and listening to positive things, positive podcasts like ours, and a lot of positive things to get your mindset out of that daily routine as much as possible. I go to a lot of different conferences, a lot of different coaching things to just get out of that daily routine so you don't create that same rut. And you see brokers that do that, and all of a sudden 15, 20 years later, they're doing the same thing they did when they were 26. And I didn't want to be that guy. I always want to be an innovator, and I'm always super competitive going, when I go into a pitch or I want to go into a presentation, I want those guys to go, wow, how did they think of that, right? And I want to be that guy. And so I'm driven by that to be the best from that standpoint.
That's a great answer. You mentioned one thing, Bob. I'm going to kick it over to you in a second, but the whole positive energy thing to me is super, super important. And we are really lucky as a team and at Colliers because we don't have negative people here, right? And when you surround yourself with a positive environment and positive people and people to believe that they can go do whatever they want to do, that elevates everybody. And with our team specifically, you never hear anybody negative, right? And that, I think, elevates all of us.
That's right.
So Bob, talk to me a little bit about kind of your mindset and how you've continued to progress like you have from being Rookie of the Year to having career years every year since.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the positivity is huge, and being on this team, being with you guys and learning from you and your experience has been massive for me. It's been a complete game changer. And then, I've looked at friends, or I've had friends in the industry that start to let that negativity creep in, and you kind of hear it, and it's subtle at first. It's sort of just blaming someone else when something doesn't go their way. And, being on such a positive team and always kind of having that at the forefront, listening to, podcasts and books that are really, instill that positive mindset, I pick up on it right away. And it's funny, I have this intuition. I'll hear it, or in the past, I've heard it with other young brokers. And I sort of go, gosh, they're not trending in the right direction. And you'll see they're out of the business.
That's right.
And you guys probably being in the 15-year industry veterans have probably seen that
For sure.
even more. And Bill being on the management side as well, you probably see that not so much at Colliers, but maybe you've seen it. And so for me, it's maintaining that positive mindset. And I think our last podcast I was on, we talked about business development, kind of cold calling came up a lot. And, it's amazing how, different your day is when you step into it with that, I'm going to go win, and have that mentality of, I don't care about the no's. I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to keep trying. And so keeping that at the forefront of my mind has been really important. I get that, from you guys, and then I also get a lot of it from podcast books I read. I read a lot of sales books. We talked about the Dave Hibbard training. That was really valuable for me.
Yeah,
I've been to a couple of his trainings now. He's fantastic. I mean, I can attribute a handful of deals directly to Dave Hibbard. So he's been a fantastic influence for me. So it's those kind of things. And really, it's just the positive environment we've created on this team that, for me, being a younger broker, has been invaluable and has led to my success.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great answer. And you mentioned a couple things there. And I think, how you show up. Right. And I don't mean just walking into the office, but are you really present? Are you really showing up every day, giving 100%? Right. And and when I interview somebody, when someone's trying to get into the business, right, do they come in with energy? Do they come in with passion? Or are they just going through the motions? Right. Because you can't fake energy and passion. And when you have it, you can really be successful. The other part you mentioned was winning. And I think that what I've noticed, the best brokers are focused on winning, not focused on money, right? The money will come, of course, with wins, but the best of the best are so focused on winning business, right? And beating their competition, right?
That's
In
right.
a good and the right way. But the winning part is, those that are driven by that and continue to be are at the top of their game.
That's right. And speaking of the top of the game, you too, Bill. I mean, you're a phenomenal leader. You're a leader in the city. Tell us a little bit about your mindset with that. Like you're a busy guy, right? Mm-hmm. You're a top broker. You're a team leader. You're leading Colliers, an industry leader. You're coaching, several teams, right, for youth sports. And suddenly you go and decide that you're going to go get a Master's of Science degree, in supply chain. Why that? What feeds you? What you're already successful. Why crowd your mind with that? What are you doing there?
Yeah, good question. Well, one, I think it's being surrounded by like-minded people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you guys and our other teammates that are always trying to push it, right? So constantly I'm trying to think about how can we go next level, right? Like what can we do to push our business to the next level, right? And so getting a master's degree can help us with that, right? You don't want to go get a master's just so you can say you have a master's. You want to get it so you can help your clients and help your team grow, right? And that's
right.
exactly why we did that, right? I mean, I don't want to be plugging 10 to 12 hours a week into a master's program, but we're doing it because it makes us better, right?
For
You
sure.
have to do those things. Otherwise, you're like potentially the people that you mentioned earlier where you're doing the same thing you did 15 years ago.
Right.
And then with just respect to the family and the coaching and everything else, when you're passionate about that stuff, it's easy, right?
Right.
And you love to do it, right? Like you guys. And so the coaching, being with the family, I mean, that's what drives me to do everything else, right? Being with your family. And so that's my big motivator and one that drives the work ethic as well.
It's awesome.
So we touched on a lot today, but I think, one of the big things that we want to leave with is just, the importance of positivity and surrounding yourself with the right people. And so hopefully you found this podcast to be helpful. We're going to do plenty more, and appreciate everybody listening in, and we'll look forward to the next one.
Thank you very much.